Hey, what's up, everybody? Gm4 coming at you with another video. All right, so obviously, when you're playing a game against the same team over and over again, it's going to be a situation where you end up running into the same content, and that's kind of what it is. We're playing the Golden State Warriors, of course, the LA Lakers, approaching Game 4, and that is the conversation at hand. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors are going to be on the road here at Crypto.com Arena, and to be honest with you, after the 3 games, one thing's for certain: you don't really know what you're going to see. You know that we've had a blowout going one direction, we've had a blowout going the other direction. As a response, we had a 5-point win where the Golden State Warriors only had 28 points in the paint, and the Lakers blocked like over 12 shots. So, you know, that's really kind of how this series has gone. My prediction would be that most of the time when a team would lose, they would lose big so that both teams could get rest, since these are old teams likely headed into altitude in the next round, depending on who finishes both of these series. So, in my mind, I just think that both of these teams probably have a silent agreement to just let the door swing wide open when it looks like it's time to wave the white flag so they can put their garbage time players on the floor and let them do a little something for the rest of the other guys. And so that's what we've seen. 2 blowouts and a 5-point lead. And in the 2 blowouts, we saw stars get no more than 33 minutes a game. So I think both teams are very pleased with that. Now, the one thing that I tried to see if I can add to the conversation is I just looked at the 3 games that we've played and tried to see if there was anything in the numbers that stood out that we really haven't talked about. Honestly, I don't think there's anything we haven't talked about, but one thing I could bring to the table that is starting to form very clearly is that the Golden State Warriors are getting over 13 or near 13 offensive rebounds in each game. Win or lose, they're killing it, getting second chance points for themselves. So we have got to put an emphasis on the defensive boards. That's what will raise the offensive glass for them, is us taking care of that and making sure that they don't have any opportunity to get second chance points. Now, a lot of times that's going to have to do with the personnel they have. Um, a guy like Kevon Looney's rebounding like a madman. Even in a game where he only had 11 minutes, he still had 8 boards. So we understand what type of rebounding they're capable of. He's just going to pull those down. Draymond Green, same thing. And a lot of times, our LA Lakers tend to go with 3 guard lineups and stuff like that leave us somewhat at a disadvantage rebounding the ball sometimes. Um, it's just a real tough thing, when you're considering the fact that we want to run 3 point guards down there and 2 power forwards, you know what I mean, sometimes, and then expect to keep teams off of the glass. You're just not going to. Bron and Rui Hachimura are fine rebounders, but not when you slap them together and tell them to be the center and power forward respectively, while the other 3 players are point guards. It's just not going to work. That's what we saw in the end of the first quarter, and it's the type of thing that tends to leave the door open and leave holes out there for the other team to attack, and it usually represents in the score. I want Darvin Ham to think about all the times he did any of that stuff in the second quarter, all of the different things that he did that left us without size, and I want him to tell me how many times it actually was a net positive for his team. Because as a person who watches this team every single night, it never is. It literally never is. Every time he does what it is that he believes in regards to them little small funky lineups that have 3 ball handlers and 2 power forwards, it never does anything positive for him. And so it's high time we take a look at that specific thing and say, that's the only time we really have trouble. And it really does pierce into our armor quite a bit from night to night to night. You know what I mean? So this is playoff time. We've liked some of the changes that he's made to our rotation, but there's still a lack of common sense as it pertains to size, as it pertains to playing the hot hand. A guy like Rui Hachimura does not need 16 minutes in a game where he can't miss a shot, in a series where he can't miss a shot, in the playoffs where he can't miss a shot. It's been 2 series where he's been basically the unanswerable situation that we have there. They don't have any answer for Rui Hachimura, neither one of these opponents, and we haven't utilized him but in not garbage time, but in second unit minutes and various different rotations that don't involve Bron and Vanderbilt. As much as I like Vanderbilt and what he brings to the table, and believe me, I do, I need what Rui's bringing to the table even more so, because it complements the other players on the floor offensively more so, and we need to find ways of keeping scoring up. You know what I mean? So our defense is what we hang our hat on, no doubt, and Vanderbilt can most definitely spearhead that, but he takes away some things as well, and we got to be honest about that when we're considering who else we have and what options we have to go to a guy like Rui Hachimura. who's shooting, very, very efficiently from all three levels. So for me, the frustration is kicked in, not necessarily because I'm not happy with the outcome, but because I'm still not quite satisfied with what I'm seeing in regards to the rotations. Um, we're getting away with it, and I'm pleased, you know what I mean, that we're winning. But at the end of the day, I just know that there's someone down there that they have no answer for, and we're only giving them like 16 and 20 minutes a game just because we want to run other stuff that has to do with our system, which restricts us from playing our best players some of the time. So that really frustrates me, and I just want Rui Hachimura to get more minutes. Um, I don't want him to wear down. I don't want us to give him too many minutes, but there's a sweet balance, and we haven't found it yet. So that's really what it comes down to. He needs more minutes. He needs more looks. Um, I'm happy that Lonnie got some looks in the last game. I hope that wasn't a one and done thing. We made the case that he can bring a lot to the table with his athleticism and his ability to shoot the ball, and he's showing some things on the defensive end as well with the minutes, so we're happy with that. And I think he's an underrated playmaker to a degree as well, just like Malik was last year. So, we've lucked out finding these shooting guards each year that can really, really pop, and we just need to utilize the one we have this year before we lose him too. And so that's what I'm frustrated about. I just think Lonnie is an asset to what we do. He brings a whole lot to the fullness of our team. One of the reasons why we're so deep is because you have a piece like him on top of everything else you have, who's very capable of dropping 30 points and jumping out the gym and electrifying your crowd. So I just don't think we've used Lonnie Walker enough. I haven't seen us throw one lob to Lonnie Walker, and I know that boy can get off the ground. Not to say that you want to throw lobs to your guards, but it's just certain elements that I just say, okay, he can jump like crazy. I've yet to see us throw a lob to him. So these are just little things that I just look at and say we've left opportunities on the table, and I think it's just because, again, the restriction of the system that Darvin Ham has us running just makes it so that certain things that are just flat out common sense, like, yo, he's good, play him, just doesn't work into the equation because you can't slot him over there in the corner so he can stand there all night in the system. So I'm frustrated with it, but I'm happy we won our last game. I just hope it doesn't translate to us leaving more production on the table when the Golden State Warriors playing much better, which I expect them to do tonight. So that's really what it is. The Golden State Warriors got to find something that works. They're saying all the right things, but at the end of the day, they're frustrated because they have to find something on their roster that's not there, and that's the ability to cut down on the deflections that Vanderbilt, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and all of our other players are creating for them defensively. We're getting steals, we're getting blocks, we're getting turnovers, we're getting in transition, and we're winning games. 27 points in transition, if I'm not mistaken, in the last game for the Lakers off of 18 or 19 turnovers. I mean, we forced 10 of them with our steals alone, so you know that we're affecting their offense in some very dangerous ways. And through 3 games, they made some adjustments that worked in the second game, but in the third game, we readjusted to those adjustments, and you saw those glaring advantages that we have once again rear their pretty heads. So I just don't think this series has to be very long if we don't overly respect this team's stars and not look at the fullness of what it is they're using out there. They don't have a full deck of cards, unfortunately. They only have half of them. And going up against us, you can't have redundant pieces like Jordan Poole only getting 16 minutes when he's eating up a 30-year cap. You know what I mean? That means that the rest of the stuff that you need isn't on the floor because of it. And as a result, that's why we have the advantages we have. So I've been talking about it a lot. They let Wiseman go for financial reasons that seem necessary to their cap, but they needed him on the floor for a series like this, for the length and for the option to go to another big. They just don't have it, and we need to start taking advantage of the fact that they don't. That's really what it comes down to. I like what I saw from D'Angelo Russell in the last game. Even though he led the team in turnovers, all in all, we love the fact that he gave us 5 3-point shots and got off to a really hot start. That kept us in the game when the Golden State Warriors got out to a hot start and took the lead from us with that little funky lineup we left on the floor in the end of the damn quarter. So with that being said, I just think that we need to continue to empower D'Lo. He has the hot hand right now. He's working his way back into rhythm, coming back from the callous foot situation. And if we don't ask him to do too much defensively, chasing people around, don't ask him to do too much running and all that, and just allow him to play his methodical game, get his little set shots and stuff like that, I think we will always be in a trump card type position against our opponents because he's just a little too much for just about every team left when you consider the ability to stretch the floor and just continue to hit threes and run it up all the way up to 40 if he gets hot. That element on top of AD being ridiculously dominant, Bron being fresh and on point, and all the different other things that we bring to the table as a unit, him with that much talent probably makes us a champion if we don't get in our own way. And that's what I think. I mean, It's just what it is. He shoots entirely too gifted to be on a roster this deep. And so that's really what it comes down to. We're in a very sweet spot where a lot of the guys on our team have either yet to be paid or on good contracts, and because of it, you can afford a guy like D'Lo on top of all this other stuff, which is what other teams just simply do not have right now. So that's why I legitimately think that we're the favorites to win it all right now, so long as we don't get in the way with our restrictive system that doesn't allow us to play best players that need to be on the floor at any given moment. And so, that's really what it comes down to. I want to see Darvin Ham continue to thrive. He's been doing good things. I liked his energy in the huddles as of late, listening to the various conversations that are being had during timeouts. And it just looks like we got the right thing going in regards to motivation and in regards to guys being on the same page. What we got to be able to do, though, is overcome the distractions that may be coming our way. Draymond Green and his little dirty antics, his Ndamukong Suh-like behavior that seems to be something that's rearing its ugly head every series now. And in this one, it's been him creating a weapon, which his knee was. That's what I call it. It was a weapon that Anthony Davis was able to fall on top of as he got into a scrum with Anthony Davis. Entirely unnecessarily, entirely uncalled for, but definitely understood why it was done. They ain't got no answer for Anthony Davis, so they got to try to hurt him or something, or whatever they're going to try to do to try to wear him down so that he's not as effective. And it's just Bush League. It ain't going to lead to nothing good for them. And at the end of the day, we just know that they do this because they can't beat us straight up. They ain't going to be able to beat us straight up. So Anthony Davis needs to look for more of that, be ready for more of that punishment. Bron, too, and everybody else, Austin Reeves, all that. They're going to try to beat you up if they can't beat you. And so just be ready to protect our players. That's what I say. And I look for the officiating to keep their eyes open as well. I don't have a problem with them swallowing whistles in the playoffs. I believe in more physicality in the playoffs, but at the same time, the whistle's there for a reason. So if you see something, call it. That's essentially what I'm saying. There's just been a lot of nonsense going on out there, and I think both teams are a little frustrated. Obviously, with the Lakers getting more free throws than the Golden State Warriors in every game, people are saying a lot. But at the end of the day, if you understand basketball well enough about styles of play, then you understand that if you shoot a lot of three-point shots, it's not going to leave you getting fouled very much. Guys are going to try to do their very best not to foul you from behind the arc, but if you're driving at the rim, you're getting calls. So that's really what it is. We drive all the time, and as a result, it's a more likelihood we get calls. So that's just how the game goes, the ebbs and flows of basketball. And if they drove the ball more, they'd likely get more whistles. So that's what they're going to try to do, and that's what Anthony Davis and Vanderbilt and Bron and all of our guys are there to stop from happening. And so long as we do that, they're not able to get into the lane. They're not able to get fouled. You know what I mean? They're not able to create that space for the three-point shot. So that's what we've been talking about for the majority of our situation. So long as we keep them from getting in the paint, keep them off the offensive glass, get in transition like we have been doing, and continue to force turnovers, we're a better team. Ain't deeper than that. They can shoot threes from here to Texas, but they're not going to hit enough of them to within that defense that's coming at them to offset the fact that we're able to lay the ball up repeatedly and get offensive boards ourselves. And that's also what needs to be said. We're matching their offensive rebound and total on the other side. It's not like they're killing us there in that way. It's just that in an isolated way, you want to stop them from getting their second chance of points. It doesn't really matter how much you did on the other side. It's not relatable at all. You just need to stop them from doing that. And so that's really what it is. Both teams are not crashing the defensive glass in the way that I think they would like to. And so I expect for them to make some type of adjustment if they see that as a glaring hole, but they also have other things they need to adjust to, so we'll see what they put an emphasis on. One, I think we should be focused on is making sure we know where Andrew Wiggins is at all times, because his three-point shot, particularly his set three-point shot, when they pass him the rock, is falling. So when he's finishing plays, they're working the ball around fine. Wiggins is falling all 3 games. Even in game 2 when everybody else was playing poorly, he was playing well. So we need to be aware that Andrew Wiggins is having fun out there, even though his team is struggling. And I expect for them to make the shift at some point to try to see if he can get more looks, because it would be in their best interest, in my opinion. Gary Payton, kind of the same thing, driving at the rim. You consider what they need to do in that way. That's somebody you need to pay attention to. Dante DiVincenzo, they haven't used him as much as I thought they would driving at the rim, but that's an answer that they could try to use. But any one of those people are going to get blocked by Anthony Davis. Any one of those people have to deal with the wingspan of Vanderbilt as well, and all the different things that we're doing. And so that's key. Regardless of how good they would be, in normal circumstances. This ain't that. Our defense is very serious, and those guys are struggling, and that's exactly how we want it to be. So as we continue to look at the Golden State Warriors, the key to it all is just continuing to use games 1 and 3 as a blueprint for how to beat them, especially game 1. Even though we only won by 5, that's the blueprint right there. You keep them under 30 points in the paint. You have them shooting over 53-point shots, regardless of how many they make. You want them shooting all threes, and then you get in the paint, you go to work, and you score efficiently. And that's how you beat the Golden State Warriors in this series. Until they make the trades necessary to give themselves some more, pressure on the rim players, guys who can drive. Until they get themselves a bit more height, so they have something to offset Anthony Davis, get them a Mitchell Robinson or a Time Lord or something like that. Until they get that type of piece on their team, we're always going to have this advantage. No matter how many games they run. We can run this thing 170 times. We're just going to get better at taking advantage of those advantages. And so you can shoot threes all day long. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, they're going to win some games because they are that good shooting. But they're going to have to prove they can win 4. And our style is just a lot more likely to succeed, in my humble opinion. It's just likely to succeed. So that's what I see there, man. I think that our depth is also a little more strong than theirs. We could probably withstand injury a bit better than they can right now. Knock on wood. Hopefully neither team has to. But these are things I just don't think the Golden State Warriors are a better team than the Lakers. I didn't think they were that good of a team all season long. They just had amazing, legendary players that could help them overachieve and keep above what otherwise would be there for them to achieve. But, this is not a Golden State year. It's not. They have glaring holes that we've talked about here. So if they're going to beat the Fray, they got to overcome those holes every night. And listen to Steph Curry talk about it. That's kind of his attitude. Without saying it, it's like, he said something along the lines of, we adjusted and had to overcome last night. And now we have to go ahead and do it again. It's like, he's understanding that the uphill battle is continuous because you're never going to be able to see eye to eye with this roster. That's what it really comes down to. And it's not some, braggadocious garbage coming out of my mouth. It's what we already said. They ain't put their money where they needed to. Jordan Poole is eating too much. You know what I'm saying? That's the reality of it. Jordan Poole eating too much. He don't do enough to be eating that much. And so they didn't want to get rid of Draymond. They didn't want to move Klay. Obviously, Steph is unmovable, clearly. Looney needed to be paid. You see how important he is. So it's like they just did what they did with their roster. Now they don't have enough. This is why I want the Lakers to be mindful of what happens when you pay everybody. This is what happens. You pay everybody properly, now you don't have enough. Guys got to take pay cuts so your team can stay deep, or guys got to seize the moment while the team is deep before they get paid. Because once you get off that team, once you get your contract, you're going to be eating away at some of that other talent, and you're going to look like Golden State. You ain't going to have your Lonnie Walkers. You ain't going to have your Shaq Harrisons, all these different players. They're going to be in one player's pocket. That's where all the money goes. So you don't want to be Golden State. You don't pay Jordan Poole when you got a bunch of shooters. You need somebody else. And they messed around and got overly greedy and cocky about what they could do with their team. And now they're in a position to get their heads knocked off because of it. And I think we should oblige them just because of that. You make teams pay for not making good decisions. That's really what it is. It's like we make them pay on the basketball court for turning the ball over. You make them pay off the basketball court for not having a good roster. And so that's what it is, man. And I'm not mad. I look at a lot of teams around the league that have been trying to manage their situation over the luxury tax with teams full of players, that are only somewhat good because they kept the guys that they wanted to keep from their yesteryear that they were winning with when they were on rookie contracts. But now on a $150 million contract, can't win with that dude. We got to make these teams pay for that. We got to eat where they are not able to. And so that's really what the fullness of what's actually happening in this series really is. And that's it. The Lakers gotta make those advantages make sense. Don't go out there and wet the bed and let that team off the hook for not having a complete roster. And that's really what it comes down to. And so that's what I see there. I'm excited about going into Game 4. I don't think that just because I've said all of that we're just automatically set to win, just like we didn't win Game 2. You know what I mean? We got to go out there and do things correctly, take advantage of those advantages, and allow them to guide us home. So we're halfway there, 2 wins into this series, another game on our home floor, and I expect our fans are going to top what the last fans did in Game 3. I expect our Our game is going to be probably more close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like this, but I do expect for the Golden State Warriors to come out and try to get out to a good start, and they have been. They've been getting out to good starts in all these games. But the problem is, it's not sustainable. No matter how they get out to their good start, at the end of the day, they're going up against Anthony Davis and his defensive genius, and then all the other different pieces that ultimately make us the best defensive team in the Western Conference right now. And so, I personally say, less basketball is best basketball for this Lakers, especially with the Nuggets possibly looming with home court advantage. We need to win this game, take a 3-1 lead, and then we'll obviously talk about getting this series over with in 5 if we were able to do that. We don't skip steps, but that's really what's best for our team is what I'm saying to you. Forget the rah-rah, let's do this. No, I'm talking about, we need rest. We need rest, and since we have these advantages against the Golden State Warriors, we need to finish the series off in 5. And so I'm not saying that's going to be something that's going to be easy, or that it's not going to require you to give all of the effort that you have in your heart. But that's what it is, Lakers. You got to give it all. You got to leave it all on the court for 2 games straight. And if we're able to do that on 1 day's rest and be victorious in those 2 games, then we can really earn the rest that we need going into the Western Conference Finals, for which we are hoping to achieve. So that is the thought. I having seen this team so much now, I don't feel a desire to talk about what pieces they have and stuff like that. This is the same team. With Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, you expect Klay to play better. 15 points in the last game. He didn't have his best game, to say the absolute least. And given the fact that he shot pretty well in this series, especially in Game 2 with 8 threes, I do expect for him to be a little more like Game 2 and a whole lot less like Game 3 in Game 4. So keep an eye on that. LeBron James hasn't turned the ball over in 2 games. I couldn't be more pleased with that. And we just got to honor that by making sure that we're victors at the end of this one. And hopefully he can keep those turnovers at an absolute minimum. I don't expect him to have 0 turnovers for 3 straight games. But since he's doing so well, I think he should be poised to have a good game in that way. Hopefully we'll keep those same principles that are allowing him to be in that situation. Anthony Davis, we got to cut the turnovers down there. We definitely want him to get into a good offensive rhythm. 10 shots attempted is fine if he can hit 7 of them. But getting to the line 10 out of 11 times is why he had the numbers he did. He's got to be aggressive, and he can't be passive. And if he is passive, then we're going to be giving them a win. That's just how that goes, man. If he plays bad, it's obviously one of those even-numbered games. We know the story now. We've talked a lot about it. Odd-numbered games, he plays well. Even-numbered games, he doesn't play well unless it's Game 6. This is Game 4. He's poised to have a bad game. We expect it. 14-point Anthony Davis, 5 turnovers, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. I expect that. What does that mean? Other people got to step up. Let's not get into this score more Anthony Davis bullcrap. No, we know the pattern. We see the pattern. We're getting 15 points. Now, who else is going to score tonight? That's the type of mentality we need to be on. I don't give a damn about his tendencies and how they drag us down. They don't drag us down. It's other people not scoring enough when he doesn't score as much that drags us down. He's going to play defense. He's going to block shots. He's going to rebound the ball. All right? So if he goes out there and only is able to hit 4 of his 7 attempts while he's trying to go through the motions because it's just that type of day, we need to be having other people like Dennis Schroeder, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and all of our different scorers, Rui Hachimura, scoring. And look, this is where Rui comes in. If Anthony Davis is having one of them trash games, you know that you get the Rui the ball. He's not. This is the thing we didn't do in Game 2 that pissed me off. I was watching Anthony Davis. They were crowding him out, doing all their best defensive stuff against Anthony. Some of those passes we gave to Anthony should have been given to Rui in that situation. Anthony creates the space for Rui by being on the floor, creating all of that defensive pressure. We don't have to go to Anthony Davis. The defense is on him. Go somewhere else. And so that's what we didn't do in Game 2, and that's why we didn't get back in that game. All you have to do is give the hot hand the damn ball. Leave him as a decoy down there with Anthony Davis so Anthony can pull all that defense away from him, and he can start showing them that they need to put more of it on him. And when that happens, then they have to take it off of Anthony, and guess who gets to get going? Anthony. So have him on the floor more with Rui Hachimura when they're crowding him out like that. Make them boys pay by putting our best offensive player on the floor and making them double him. And he is our best offensive player right now. I love what, like I said, Bron's been playing great, AD's been playing great, but there's nobody more efficient than Rui Hachimura right now. There's nobody more efficient. We're just not giving him enough shots to make him prove it. But he's the one hitting all the damn buckets. So can we please act like we know? The man was 4 for 6 from behind the arc in game, what, 1? And then had another high efficiency 3-point game the next night. He had some high efficiency 3-point games against the Memphis Grizzlies. Like, we're leaving all this production on the floor. This dude could have been hitting threes left and right, getting dunks, layups. I mean, I'm telling you, I think he would have been averaging 25 points in the series if he was being coached by somebody who just wanted to give him the focal point a little bit. You know what I'm saying? These type of stuff, especially since Anthony Davis want to go out there and score half a dozen points or whatever. Man, if you don't give Rui Hachimura the ball while he's playing like this, so that we can get the most out of this young man. So these are the things I'm talking about right now, man. You know what I mean? I want to see us use the advantage that we have against this team. Go big. They ain't got no chance of getting in the paint or stopping us from getting in there if we're big. They can shoot threes all day long. Maybe they make a bunch of them, maybe they don't, but we're going to keep scoring. We're going to keep scoring, and that's the point. So let's get out in transition, defense to offense, block their shots, keep them out of the paint. I don't want to see no layups from Steph Curry. I don't want to see no layups from Draymond Green. All that stupid crap needs to be erased. And if you erase that and they're only shooting threes, they're not winning the game. They ain't winning no games against us if we erase everything in the paint. That's how you beat Golden State. So that is what I have to say, man. This ain't a deeper video than that. Them points in transition is everything to us. It's how we score 120 points. It's defense to offense, baby. So that's what I got. The game's at 7 o'clock tonight at Crypto.com Arena, Anxiety Arena. We've been playing good there. We've gotten wins there as of late. We ain't been losing a whole lot of anything lately, really. And we just got to keep our foot on the gas. Game 2 was an aberration. All types of stuff that happened that ain't going to happen twice happened that game. And so we just need to continue to do what is likely to happen more than often and continue to impose our will on this little tiny shooting team and send them home. Send them into their offseason where they can retool and come back worthy of the field. Because right now, they're living off lore. They're living off championship glory of the past, and they don't have what they need to kick you know what. So that's really what it comes down to. We need to kick theirs, send them back home to Chase Center and finish this thing off there, man. I'm tired of being respectful of these champs. They're wonderful, this, that, and the third, but they don't have enough. And I'm tired of pretending like they do just because they've won a lot. They don't have enough. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.